Hi, good afternoon. My name is Andrew Mills. I'm one of the graduate gemologists here at NY Atelier at 19 Bleecker Street in NoHo, New York. Today we are going to talk about a particular color range of diamonds, which you may or may not be familiar with if you follow our media or you've been into the store. It's really cool and it's really beautiful, so I'm here to share some of that with you. We are focusing on the champagne diamonds today. Champagne diamonds are a really interesting, ever so slightly different color range of natural diamonds that can just do something that your traditional white diamond doesn't quite do. So the first thing to discuss is really talking about what champagne is or what that means. To start off with, a reminder, or if you're not familiar with this fact, diamonds come in every single color that is physically possible. Red, pink, blue, green, orange, purple, red, you name it. Naturally, some of those are completely untouchable, and even someone like me is very lucky to see a red diamond, for instance. They practically don't exist. But there's a whole range of colors within every single color of the spectrum. So the champagne, typically when we're talking about champagne, fits somewhere between a white to pinkish to brownish to yellowish range that's just really diverse and really interesting. A little bit to touch on is color and how to define that, and that helps me or anyone really understand why these diamonds are what they are and just the color that they appear. So color can be broken down into three different parts: hue, tone, and saturation. Hue is the actual color that you see, like red or green and blue. That's the hue. Tone is the sort of amount of lightness or dark that you see, all the way from white to black, essentially. And saturation is the strength of the color, or the intensity. So blue can be sort of milky, grayish, dark is tone, but like a grayish dark blue has low saturation, whereas the purest, most vivid blue color that you've ever seen, like pure blue, has really high saturation. All of that matters when we're talking about color, even if it's very light color. So I might have you zoom in a little bit. Champagne is a range of color. It is not one color. It's essentially hundreds of colors all rolled into one definition. Sometimes champagne can literally be 3, maybe even 4 different colors wrapped into the same stone. They're super unique. Every single one is different from the next, even though we're staying in this particular theme. These particular stones I've arranged from like super light and graduating to kind of a more medium. This is still medium, but getting darker. We don't usually go too dark. Our clients love this really light to sort of medium light tone, despite whatever other color may be showing in the stone. Champagne, we use a scale from C1 to C7, C obviously standing for champagne, but the 1s and 2s are kind of this first row, maybe 3 here in the end. Then you've got your medium from like C3 to C5, and then there's not very many dark, sometimes called cognac ones, but these are probably more like C6, so not like the darkest, but getting there. Those can be really interesting and do very fascinating things with light. So the rest of this chart is another good sort of idea of how color for diamonds work. like diamonds exist in every single one of these colors. So this is kind of what we see in terms of champagne. That's very strictly and very obviously yellow, which is not, it does not fall on the same scale, next to white, which everyone really is familiar with. So one of the really interesting things that starts to happen is when you see, you know, again, here's this like normal champagne range that, you know, you might think of, but it gets really interesting when you throw pink in there, or you throw orange, or both, like orangey pink champagne, to even some more like brownish pinks. Pink and purple, totally different category. Normal people don't really get to see that in their lives because they're like millions and millions of dollars kind of thing. We can still do that if you want to. But the champagnes are just really interesting for a number of reasons. And hopefully this sort of range that I'm showing is a good indication. So the next part is really why we think champagne diamonds are awesome. Me especially, as everyone here probably knows at this point. So champagne diamonds are the same as traditional white diamonds in every single way, except the color. So the clarity is the same, the cut is the same, the carat weight is the same. It is a diamond, period. Totally natural, comes out of the earth this color. So what that means is a champagne diamond works with light. It sparkles in the same exact way, it just has interesting color. Now the key thing for me about this color range is that it is neutral. Neutral color makes committing to a stone that has color in it much less aggressive, should I say, than working with something like a sapphire or an emerald or a ruby, where when you go for that bright red or that bright blue color, it's kind of a totally different thing. Whereas a champagne diamond, you're getting everything that you would from a traditional like white diamond. It's just slightly more interesting, and you're really not going to see anyone else wearing something like that. So that's always kind of nice. And as those of you who know us know, we specialize in slightly and unique, based on kind of a traditional idea, but with a twist. And they just work really beautifully in that way. The other major factor, which most people are very happy to find out, is that champagne diamonds typically cost significantly less than the equivalent size white diamond. So we can do a lot of things with them in a range with like a little bit bigger size stone than you might be able to go for if you're looking at white diamonds. On the flip side, you can essentially have a diamond that's much bigger than you would have expected. And sometimes the subtlety of color, can I have you come back in here so you can see, get it nice and close there. So you'll have like your super light, like barely even noticeable champagne, like this stone here. Let me get my tweezers. This stone, I threw a white one in there. This one and this one, as you kind of come along here, if you'll notice, they're really light, especially this diamond. It's so hard to capture this color. They're just so subtle and light, but all of these diamonds have something really interesting, which is a pretty strong influence of pink. And that pinkish tone the pinkish color really just makes them such an incredible color that's really subtle. And then you come to this more medium range, like that stone, for instance. This is super pink. I don't know if it's really hard to do what we're doing, trying to portray color in in a video, but hopefully you can see a little bit of that. So, I mean, I'm personally partial to any of these stones that have like a nice strong pink in them. That could mean that they come from one very special place, which I'm not going to go too far into today, but there's a lot more information, and we are, of course, always happy to answer questions about these unique stones, and they are really amazing alternative options that really aren't so alternative. They're still diamonds, they just have an interesting neutral palette, and we love them, and we've all gotten really good at providing really well curated and tailored selections of these stones for each individual client. So again, we're always happy to talk about this and answer questions. So there's just a little bit about champagne diamonds. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm Andrew here at 19 Bleecker Street on Sheffield in New York, signing off.